It's taking a minute. Okay, and we are live. So, hey everyone, thanks for joining us today. I'm Mandi, the board gaming pinup girl with To Die For games, and today we are going to be talking about this awesome app called Potion Explosion. So we're going to do some introductions. I know for myself, you guys have seen me on the Dice Tower doing Board Game Breakfast about Insta Gamers Network, pretty much everywhere, Twitter, Instagram, you name it, I'm there. So that's me. Let's hand it over to Amber.
Hello, I'm Amber Cook, and I work on the sort of more the behind-the-scenes side of publishing games, and recently switched over to doing board game apps from regular board games. And so I'm working with Asmodee Digital. We recently put out Potion Explosion, Mysterium, Cult Express, and we have a really big lineup for 2017 of new board game apps that we're super excited about. So just here to preview some of that, and yeah, show you guys what we're all about.
Awesome. And Cassie, tell us about yourself.
I'm Cassie with the Indie Game Report. I do videos and write some reviews with a couple of other gentlemen for the Indie Game Report. And I'm really excited. I play Potion Explosion. I have the board game and then I'm playing the app. And I know we were going to talk about Mysterium, but I was excited because I haven't played Mysterium board game, but I have played the app. So I was looking forward to doing that, but we can do that another time. So, and this is my first live chat, so forgive me if I'm all bizarre and whatnot.
No, welcome. We enjoy the differences. I like different. So we can't give away all our secrets today, so that's why we're just focusing on Potion Explosion, but hopefully we will do more of these in the future. So Amber, we're going to come to you because really
great,
it's all about you and what you're doing. So can you give us a bit more insight to Asmodee Digital, what you guys do, what's behind the scenes? Like, give us a bit more.
Sure. Well, I'll tell you guys what I can. So Days of Wonder was, everybody's familiar, I think, with like Ticket to Ride and Small World and Splendor that have come out by Days of Wonder as apps. And it was a really big part of Days of Wonder's strategy from an outsider's perspective to watch them come out with apps simultaneously with a lot of their board games. And I think it was a key to a lot of their success in mass market and in hobby retail. They sold a lot more games because people could learn to play them before they actually bought the boxed game. So you don't have to read the rules. And this is before the wonderful days of Rodney doing watch it played videos for everything. So that's been kind of a fun thing. And when Asmodee acquired Days of Wonder, they inherited the software team that had been behind all of these apps for a long time. So now we've got a couple of guys that are running that team, and they've been a little bit more, I guess, aggressive about going out and getting new apps and saying, let's make the most of this and let's see what we can turn into an app. And they've gone out and gotten digital rights for a bunch of different games that are really interesting, a really diverse lineup of games too.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the sort of Asmodee Euro style games that you're used to seeing, like Cult Express or Mysterium. But now that they've got so many different companies under their umbrella, they have access to a lot of different types of IP. So I'm really excited because we've announced that we're going to do Onirim at some point in the next couple of months. So I've been playing that a lot on my phone.
That in the chat, he was excited about it.
I'm really excited about it. I hadn't actually played it before the app came out. So this is, I've been practicing and I'm finally not losing. But it's really fun to watch all these things come to life, and you get to play them a lot more, because the reality is that a lot of people just, I mean, even if you get to go game a couple times a week, now you're suddenly getting much better at your games because you're playing them all the time on the phone. And it's really nice for me to be able to play with a lot of my friends that are in different parts of the world that I don't get to game with otherwise. So it's really kind of, it's been really interesting professionally to move over there and just see the different side of publishing that's happening with digital, because there's so much to learn about how to launch an app on the App Store that I didn't know. But also just personally, it's really interesting to be playing all these games all the time and be like, hey, Nicole in Canada, I'm going to play this game with you now. That's great. We never could do that before. It's really sweet. And so, you know, I mean, I played Words with Friends and games like that, but I never really played that many board game apps that weren't just pass and play. So it's been, and that's one of the strengths, I think, of Asmodee Digital, is that they have a really strong server system behind the scenes that they've developed over the last, I don't know how many years, to accommodate online cross-platform play, which is really nice. So you can be playing with your friend that's on the other side of the world that plays on an Android if you're on an iPhone in San Francisco.
That's really great.
Yeah. So it's really, really different than board games, though, in a lot of ways, because I think you launch an app and it sort of immediately gets this like this audience that wants to play everything right away for the first time. And
Right.
so you watch all of them play and all the reactions to that. And then usually there's sort of a system where a couple weeks later we put out a patches in reaction to like everything that everybody says, like, hey, we wish we had pass and play on this, or we wish we, you know, it's every game is a little bit different what people are looking for. So I know in Mysterium, I was like, it would be really great if you had emojis for the chat window so you didn't have to type everything out. You could just be like, no, with your emojis, because that's how we text.
Exactly.
And so they're actually incorporating that into Mysterium's chat window, which is really fun. So it's nice to be able to go and do that, because with board games, you print it and then you can release expansions, but you can't actually do software updates for anybody, which is a really fun part of the apps. So, yeah. So we've got, I think we're going to have about 20 games released this year.
Oh, wow. So, that's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. And that includes supporting all of the games that we've had out for so long, like Splendor and like Ticket to Ride and Small World, and
really
bringing
cool.
bringing a lot of older titles to digital, and then also some newer ones that we're coming out with this year. I think we'll start to see some of those come out a little bit sooner to launch date from the board game.
Can I just say, Splendor, not one of my favorite games. I have the app. Can I tell you, that is a beautiful app.
It is, yeah.
Gorgeous. So I got to tell you, job well done on that one.
Yeah, it's really interesting to watch the guys who are from Days of Wonder that built the Ticket to Ride app, because originally that was I think it was originally a free online game. Like I think it was like a web browser game maybe. I was reading like old interviews from back when Days of Wonder first launched it, and it seems like it was just online, and then people started playing and this community sort of developed, and then it was launched. All the first generation of iPads all came with a copy of Ticket to Ride on them, which is really cool. So they have this like very deep history of doing, you know, digital versions of board games, and I think them building Splendor really brought a lot of their talent to light. So
amazing.
Yeah, it's nice to be able to work with them. I didn't know it either, and they're mostly based in Paris, so it's really interesting. I didn't really know any of my coworkers until I went to Paris for the first time, and I'd only met a few people, and then I got there and it was like, wow, there's 20 people in this room, and like they're all developers and they all know so many things. They have, you know, they've been through so much with Days of Wonder, and then it turning into Asmodee. They just have a great history of board gaming apps. So
that's amazing. Yeah. Oh my God. See, I'm learning all these new things.
Yeah, it's fun. Every time I go there, I learn like all kinds of crazy stories about, you know, I didn't know that they even had done a Small World Kickstarter. And so that had apparently been like, there had been a big Small World Kickstarter years ago. And so when I went to play Potion Explosion for the first time, a couple of my friends, when I added them to my buddy list, had like this little badge that they got because they had been a Small World backer like years ago. So it's really nice to see the legacy of all that evolving, and also to know that there's some people who have just had so many years of experience with this that are taking good care of the digital back end for not only Asmodee Digital, but they've now merged those accounts with your old Days of Wonder accounts. So if you had a Ticket to Ride account,
that's nice.
It's now, they just did a huge merger of, I think it was a couple million people.
Oh, wow.
So it was a big process that I didn't even know was happening. But people from FFG, if they had a FFG digital account, it now works for Asmodee Digital and all of the Asmodee Digital apps. Same thing with Days of Wonder. So they're all sort of consolidated now.
Because I had a friend who had a Days of Wonder account, and he we're going to talk about this a bit later, but he was saying that he was having difficulty signing in, but I'm assuming that now that they've done
why.
So that makes sense.
We now have a customer support person who, and I'll let you guys know what that email address is. I'll pull it up because if anybody has issues with anything, really, we have a new support person who's handling, because we have so many apps out now. We don't have time for the developers or the project managers to answer questions all the time. So there's a person just dedicated to making sure that everything works. So we have to do a good job of getting that message out there, because right now I think a lot of people just don't know that all of that's happening. Since I'm just learning it as I go, but it's great. I mean, it's all, I think, working toward a really nice place of being able to do all this online cross-platform play and use your account everywhere. So you just have one singular account.
Okay, so what I can do is, we're talking about it here, and any information that may be pertinent for people to get in touch, I will put below in the video. So where all of our information is, I'll add that as well.
Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. So Cassie, we're chatting
Yes.
away here. I'm sure you have a question for me.
Yeah, well, while you were talking about the merger of the accounts, I had a question about, are they going to go anywhere into Steam at all? Because I know that there were some Days of Wonder games that were in Steam. Is Asmodee thinking about doing anything with that as well as like with the Android and iPhones?
So you can use the same account for, I don't use Steam because I have a Mac and most of the Mac stuff isn't available on Steam.
Yeah, same with me.
So I don't have like, I'm now like, I have to get a PC computer for gaming. Great.
Oh.
But so I don't really know too much about how all that works, but I know you can log into your Asmodee account and all your points and all your wins and all your stats and everything will work there. But right now we're releasing only some games on Steam. So it's only a portion of them. Like Cult Express is on Steam. Mysterium is on Steam.
Ooh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so you can log in and play. And so Potion Explosion is only mobile right now. If we get enough demand, then that'll sort of, you know, push our project managers to prioritize in that way. So we'll see how things go. I mean, I know that we've talked about all kinds of things, and I think it's just, you know, how much more do we want to, are we going to get a bigger community and satisfy a bigger group of people by adding Steam for this game versus releasing a new game?
Yeah, and I feel like mobile is just more people have access to it. So
yeah,
it would be a priority, I would think.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, that's and some of the games are really casual, so they're really like you just play them right there, and then they're kind of done after 5 minutes. True. Even Mysterium, I think, only really takes about 10 minutes to play a full game of when you're playing online, depending on how quickly everybody is choosing. But most of my games have lasted for about 10 minutes when I've played. So.
Yes, I can attest. Maybe I shouldn't say this online, been in a very boring meeting, and I've managed to sneak in a game for about 10 minutes. So I would say that's accurate.
I got called out on that in the staff meeting the other day. I was like, I'm playing the new game, though.
That's funny. It's work related. Yeah, I don't think I'd get away with that where I work.
One of the developers who worked on Tried sent me a message. He was like, I can tell you're not listening. I was like, I'm playing Onirim. I'm sorry.
Multitasking.
I have to learn these games.
Oh, that's too funny. What'd you say?
I finally won, so it was worth it.
See, that's it. You had to do it. You won. Now you can relax a little bit. I get it. I totally get it. So I know we have some other questions we wanted to cover, specifically looking at how does Asmodee decide on which games are translated into digital games?
That's a great question.
It was actually not my question, but I would relay it.
So I'll try to answer that as best I can. I think we have a lot of games where we know how popular they are because we can look at the sales data. And so we're like, this game is super popular. And so for Cult Express is a really interesting one because it's very, very popular in France. And so because our team is based in Paris, we have a little bit of like bias toward Europe, I think. And so we tend to look at what's selling the best, what's the most popular, and what do we think will sort of satisfy people to play on mobile versus in person. And the team is really different now, I think, with the new guys who are heading. Philippe and Pierre are the new sort of directors of the team. And because they have a background in mobile, they're a little bit more, I think, creative about or ambitious about what they can translate, because I think they're doing things that are different than what other board game apps have done in the past. So, for example, with Cult Express, you saw a really big story mode. We have got a lot of guys that come from mobile and video games now, so they're thinking bigger than just a one-to-one translation of a board game. Mm-hmm. And that means that they're adding in all like leaderboards, and they're adding in all kinds of different challenges and story modes, and not every game is getting that, but some of them are. So I think they're thinking about that to some extent. Sometimes there's just going to be the one-to-one adaptations, like Onirim is just a one-to-one adaptation, but it's very satisfying. And so I think they're doing it based on what people are passionate about, what the sales data is showing is popular, what we think we can grow a community around. Mm-hmm. And now I'm doing a little bit of biz dev work. So I'm kind of saying, hey, here are some games that I think we should be we should be bringing to digital. So they're very open to suggestions. And I think if they're hearing from people, hey, we really want this one,
Right.
it's something that they'll consider. But I think it just depends on who we can actually get rights from, or whether or not we already have them. So for example, Ticket to Ride is easy because that's a Days of Wonder IP.
Right.
Splendor's, part of our group. So those are a little bit easier to just say, yes, we can do that right away. And same thing with Spot It Now. Other things, other people already have the digital rights too, so we have to, put those on the back burner for a while. But in other situations where we're partnering up with people where there's already a studio that has the digital rights, and we can go and talk to them and say, hey, we've got this great backend system to host your cross-platform games, and so why don't we help you bring this to mobile? And we kind of bring our expertise to it. So. Yeah, I mean, I think it's really interesting to watch them focus on like that server side stuff. And this is stuff that I really don't know about, but they're creating a system where it basically is very scalable. So if you suddenly have a game that has maybe only 10 people online at a time, and then suddenly it jumps up to having 5,000 people online at a time, they can handle that because the servers scale up so well. So that's something that's, I think, pretty interesting that they're building. And it means that we have the ability to help smaller studios grow into something bigger.
Yeah.
So
and I think it's really great to hear that they are taking some of the input as to what people want into consideration, because a lot of the time when you get with larger companies, sometimes that's ignored, and then people are not really getting what they want, and that's the point, right? So
I mean, we have to be reasonable and sometimes the difference between board games and digital games that I've noticed too is that you have to put so much money into it up front to develop the game without knowing if you're ever going to sell any of them. So I mean, you do the same in board games, but it doesn't quite cost so much because you don't need a whole team of developers.
That's right.
And you don't always have to customize the artwork and all of that. So board games are just different in that way. And it means that, there's a certain amount you can get it to ready for before you go and press print in China or in the US or wherever you're going to print it, and raise that money on Kickstarter or something. With the apps, you're really investing in them and in a studio that's developing them, or the salaries of your developers right from the beginning. And then you're just trying to recoup those costs later. So we have to think about, after we've already spent, so much on one app, how do you then go and figure out how much to invest on like modifications to it. So we have to be reasonable about it, but I mean, we want everybody to be playing them and to be playing them in a happy way. So we're listening. And we don't always have like the one day turnaround speed, but it was funny. The first one I launched with them was Cult Express, and there were issues because they wanted to get the game out. They thought people would play the story mode first. And so we launched it with the story mode, but there wasn't a lobby to set up your multiplayer online games. But within like a week of launch, that game like had the multiplayer online lobby. I was like, wow, you guys are really fast. I thought that was going to take months, but they just had it right there in a week. And so it's a very funny thing to watch how quickly they can work to do certain things too. So yeah.
How long does it take from like making a decision that, okay, we're going to take this game and turn it into an app to the app is ready to launch?
I'm going to say like maybe, I'm guessing, I'm really guessing, but I would say 3 to 6 months. And I think
that's pretty fast.
I think that, I think that it depends on what kind of app it is. Yeah. So I think it depends on if they're doing like a one-to-one translation where they're able to just take all the art assets. Like, there are a couple of games that we haven't announced that I shouldn't talk about. But there's somewhere we just take the games right off the board game, the art off the board game, and then you can just animate it, or you're basically just making like a player board, and so
like Potion
it's not a lot of
those models just
they animate
the same art.
Yeah. Well, it's the same art, but they actually added animations into everything.
Yeah.
So everything's moving the whole time. So there's actually a lot more to Potion Explosion, even though it's a one-to-one adaptation of the board game, but they added a lot of art value to it.
I love it. I think the graphic art and everything is really cool. I love watching the Potion.
I love what they did too. But for something like Cult Express, they added in an entire graphic novel basically to the story mode. So as you unlock different layers, you unlock different comic stories. And I'm sure that took a huge amount of time. I wasn't on board yet when they were developing that, but I'm sure that was a huge amount of time because they have to commission the artist to do a whole new set of extra artwork and then obviously get it all approved. And and then there's a period of QA testing So I don't know, a lot of that takes, I mean, we do our own internal QA testing, and then I believe the development studios that we partner with sometimes, I'm sure they do their own QA testing, but honestly, launch is like the biggest QA test because everyone on every device is playing, and so you find out everything that you didn't find out before.
Someone asked if you know, or if you're allowed to or tell us how far out OniRim is for the app on that.
I knew that question was going to
I
come.
know, right?
I'll just say this, I'm playing a fully developed version that is flawless from what I can tell on my phone. I mean, I'm playing on an iPhone 7, so I think they usually are developed for like the newer phones. So the older phones are what show the issues that we don't otherwise see. So maybe they're having, it looks done to me, is all I'll say. So hopefully soon.
Sounds good.
Because that is a question that we have been getting asked about a lot. So I don't know, this must be like extremely popular, because even like when I mentioned that I was coming to talk to you guys about this, that was the first game that they asked about.
Yeah, we haven't announced the launch date, but yeah, it's good. It's cute.
So people can keep an eye out, is what you're saying. Like, it's coming.
Yes, it's definitely coming. And you know, you guys, it would be great if everybody followed us on social media. We're on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook as Asmodee Digital. And I make all the announcements there. As soon as I have information, I'm announcing sales there. I'm announcing updates there. I'm announcing, you know, new games there. As soon as I have anything to say, that's where I'm saying it. So,
Okay.
So if you follow us there, you'll know right away.
So, and everybody, again, you can get all of these links all below. And again, we'll put them out for you to see, but they are also on the bottom of this video. So I have a kind of a random question, and maybe this is because I played Mansions of Madness last night. So are you guys going to be doing more like apps, I guess, that
like
are played
companion
with
apps?
Right.
I don't think so. I mean, I think that FFG is doing some of that. So they have their own software team in-house, and I actually haven't met them yet.
Cool.
The software team in Minneapolis, but so a lot of studios seem to have partners that do digital work. For example, I know in Nuremberg they were showing off the game Unlock, which is like an escape room style game that we'll be distributing, and that one looks really interesting to me. And Eric Martin reached out and was like, "When is the app coming out? Because I have the game, but I don't have the app." And I was like, I don't know. Exactly. I think sometimes the studios actually do that. So it's not like we do everything that's digital. We're just doing most of the standalone games that you can play. And I think that sometimes FFG is doing their own companion apps because they do that very well and are totally capable of making that happen on their own.
Okay.
So
that's pretty cool.
We partner with them a little bit. Yeah.
Okay. I just see a trend with that happening, and maybe just because I played Mansions of Madness last night, I'm like, oh, is that something that's going to be a thing now? Or
yeah, and I play Secret Hitler, and I always use the little companion app that does the voiceover, and you know, and I mean, yeah, I think it's nice to be able to use the companion apps when you're playing these games, and it seems like more people are being creative about how to do it now, which is really nice. I'm really excited for Unlock. That's going to be.
That sounds
that's
good.
going to be super fun. Yeah.
Is it like horror themed at all?
I don't think so. I think it's just escape room, and like you have puzzles. You know how have you ever done an escape room before where you're entering the code in? Yeah. So I think like to say that you've solved the riddle. And so I think you're doing that actually on the app, and it'll verify through the app, and also have the timer. Is what I'm expecting. That's what it seemed like from the video I saw. But
that's really cool, because nothing is worse when it takes over the game. I like it as a compliment. So which is what that sounds. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think people are going to want to see Potion Explosion.
All right, let's do it.
Is there any way we can get like a little demo? I know you've got a trick up your sleeve here, so I'm excited.
I have a trick up my sleeve, which is that. Oh man, you guys hear that?
Yeah, what was that? Was that the app?
Yeah. That's the app.
I love it.
Oh wow. I'm gonna leave the online game that I'm playing right now, so I don't lose online. Okay, I need to go and share my screen.
So while you're doing that, can I tell you, I love playing that app with the music, and when the music is not there, I'm like, oh, I like the music on when I play.
Let's see if I can share my screen. It looks like the button has moved from the last time that we did this.
Okay.
Well, that's not fun.
Well, while you're looking, we'll kind of chat with everyone here. So we're looking to do a demo so we can pretty much show how to play the game. Now, some of you are familiar with it, and I've heard the story. It was an app, and then it was a board game, and now it's an app again. Yes, but this is so like you can take it on the go, and I actually find it quite representative of the game, so it's really good. So
yeah, definitely.
You know,
Yeah.
I'm having some problems. It doesn't seem to want to do this.
Oh, it doesn't want to come up?
No, it's the link that let me do it before is not here. Well, this is no fun.
Oh, that's okay.
All right. Well, you guys can keep talking, and I'll see if I can figure it out.
Okay, no problem. So, Cassie, so what are your thoughts on the app, actually?
I love playing. I'm always playing online, or I'm sorry, I'm always playing offline because I'm still getting used to figuring out how everything's been translated over. And I like how hard the hard player is. It's really difficult to, you don't think that the game is that difficult until you play against an AI that's like, oh yeah, I see all of the combos, and I'm going to use this potion, and then I'm going to take this marble, and then I'm going to do this. And you're like, I'm going to just take one marble my turn. And they're like way ahead of you. It's a lot of fun because then you start to have to pay attention to how all of the potions work to your advantage. So I'm having a lot of fun, and I was playing it with my husband the other night. We like doing the pass and play. It's been, he's still trying to figure out. He's like, I still don't see how everything translated over, but I think it's because he was tired. But I've been having a lot of fun with it.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, cool.
Oh, good timing.
I love it.
All right. Is it working now? Can you see it?
I can see it.
Yeah, it's totally there. So I'm going to just mute my mic because I don't want to talk and it switches screens. So I'm going to mute my mic. So it's all yours, Amber, okay?
Okay, great. I'll do a little demo then. So let's see. I'm going to create a new game here. This is just the title screen. You can go here to play online, and I'll just show you around a little bit. If you go here, you can add your buddies just by doing this, typing in their Asmodee Digital handle, and then there's a little heart that pops up, and you can just add them as a heart. We're going to do offline, so I don't lose while we're playing. And you can set an easy or a hard AI, and this is just loading the screen. Here we are in the Sorcery Academy. So this is the AI taking its turn. And it looks like it's already gotten a potion, and you can see it selecting its next potion. So potion explosion, you're trying to get the most points, and part of the way that you do that is by collecting these little ingredients that you see in this set here, in the rack here, and using them to complete the potions that you see on the bottom. So I'm going to hit this blue one here that causes those yellow ones to collide, and then they go into my collection. And now I've got 5 red, 1 blue, and 3 yellow to fill out my set here. So you can drag them like this if you want to specify where they're going. But if you're pretty confident about where they're going and you're not worried about the computer making a bad decision, you can just hit that button there. As you complete one, you can do that. And once there's not anything else that you can do, you would hit the green button here, and that'll just take you to a window where you can select all your new potions. I'm going to actually get another blue so I can finish this second potion here by using this help guy here. And this brings the professor to the classroom to give me some help, and I can just pop one right there. It's -2 points, but if you're scoring a lot of points on your turn, it doesn't really matter. And I think it's a nice strategy to use for getting extra little potions filled up. So now there's nothing else I can do except for use these potions that I've secured on the bottom that each have a special power, but that's not really going to do anything for me now because I don't have any potions to complete. So I'm just going to hit the green button, and I select my potions based on points usually. So I'm taking that 10 one, and I'm taking this 8 one. And part of my strategy in doing that is so that I'll have 3 with the same type of potion, because that's going to get me one of these ribbons up top. All right. So it's my turn again, and I can use the potions that I've got in the reserve here. I can have up to 3 of those, and I can use those to complete new potions that I collect. And now, let's see. I'm going to take a risk here. No, I'll go here. Take that blue. I get some reds to collide and some yellows. And then I'm going to use this guy, the Abyssal Draft, which is going to let me take one of each color from the bottom row of the rack. So I just hit the little button there. It uncorks the potion, which I think is really cute with all these animations. And you select which ones you want it to take. It lets you take up to one of each color. So that's going to let me finish that one. And then I could do that again because I have more of these here. But I'm not going to be able to finish all 4 of those different green moons. So I'm just going to go ahead and let the AI take a turn and select a new set. And again, I'm choosing based on points, but you could pick any of your favorite potions. What you're trying to do is either get 1 each of 5 different potions or 3 of one. And each of those times will give you a ribbon. And when the ribbons run out, that's what triggers end game. So it's having the most points at the end of the game. So we'll do one more turn so you guys can just get a sense of a couple of different potions opening up. So otherwise I would just sit here and play all day. Let's do that. Make some cute little noises as it fills all of them up. And let me take some more potions. I'll use that yellow. Then I'm going to use this one to take another yellow. And one of the other things, so this potion here that I just completed has a power to let you take one of any random potion off of the, or ingredient off of the rack. So I'll use that now so you can see what that one looks like. Just take that green guy, fill it in there. And I could do that a couple more times since I have them, but I'm gonna let the AI take a little turn. And once you've selected your new potions, that ends your turn. So as soon as you hit that green button, that means your turn's over. So it has a little bit of like the match 3 kind of style that a lot of mobile games have, but then it has this additional strategy element where you're doing set collection, which I think is really nice, and choosing which types of powers your different potions have. So it adds a nice strategic element onto that thing that a lot of us are familiar with. So I think it's a really nice way to introduce people who aren't used to playing board games or heavy strategy games into doing a little bit of those kinds of strategy mechanics. So let's see. I think I'll go here next turn. Take a lot of yellows and reds. Wasn't super productive for me, but it might give me enough that I can then get a little ribbon and show you guys that. So I'll take a black there. And I'm also going to use my -2 help to take another black one. And we'll put them there. And because this is the 3rd one I'm taking of this type of potion, you'll see the little badge shows up right there. So that means that I've gotten 4 points for that. So all my points are shown up in the top left next to my character. And then I'll check to just say that I'm done with my turn this time. And again, I'm just taking the highest level point potion that I can and finishing up with that. It's nice if you can get them to match the colors that you have in your reserve on the side to the left of your potions also, because then you can use those up and clear those for future collections. So I think that's enough. I'm going to stop screen sharing now and come back into the chat.
Would you be able to, before you exit out, could you show the rule book in the app? Because I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, Sue's really like that too. Yeah. I'm going to leave that game and let's see. You can go to more here. Oops. We're going to decline that call. We're going to go to more here and you can go to the rule book right here. So this is a quick summary of the game, and you can just flip through. This one also comes in several different languages. Most of our games are multilingual. I think they usually come in like at least 5 languages. So sometimes you'll see us make choices. You can skip through the whole thing and see all the different little potions and what their powers are. And all the little detailed rules that you might miss if you aren't super familiar with a board game. We've also got credits in there, so you can see everybody who worked on it, which is kind of sweet. You can see, there's also a little tutorial here, which I think I played the first time because I hadn't played Potion Explosion before. And so that's really nice for teaching you if you don't want to go through the rules. You can also have the option of turning the music off. I find it super charming, so I don't usually turn it off. But let's see, if there's anything else that I should show you guys. Yeah, there's a few different languages here you can see. And I think the only other thing that I should talk about is probably with online play. Right now, you can invite people. So you can do a new game here, and then you can add someone from your buddy list and pick someone that you know there. Or you can say, I just want to play with any random person in the world. And if someone's online at the same time, they can match make for you. I usually just add 1 open slot because you're more likely to get it filled up pretty quickly. This 3 days here, you can change how long the game is so that you have a different amount of time before you time out on async play. So you can do it for 15 minutes, which is kind of punishing. Means you basically have to be playing the whole time. Or I usually just set it for a few days so that if somebody wants to come back and forth in and out of the app, then it doesn't really shut us down. You can also choose the potions that you start with, which is not something I usually do. You can randomize it by hitting the dice, or you can actually go and select each of them, and it'll tell you, how many you need.
Does the online, does the online have a leaderboard so for people to compete in Potion Explosion?
It doesn't right now. I got some comments from some people that were asking for their statistics, which I think is a really nice thing to be able to, give people. And so I gave that feedback. I was in Paris last week with the project managers, and we kind of went through all the different feedback that we got from launch, which is a thing we usually do, within the same launching. And we talked about people would like notifications for the async play to pop up on their phone. So that's something that we're taking under consideration. And same thing for statistics and achievements. I don't know if a leaderboard makes sense, but I think statistics make sense. And we're just kind of seeing what we get the most requests for and talking about what's practical to implement for the development studio. Some things are a little bit more labor intensive than others, and other things are super easy to just patch up. So I know that there's, I should mention there's an update coming this week. So it was submitted to Apple at the end of the week and should be through then sometime middle of this week, I would guess. And that there's been a few async issues where people aren't matching up at the same time, or the turns aren't quite syncing up properly. And there's a couple little bugs, so that'll patch up some of those. So when you see those updates come through, please make sure to update, because they're usually there to make sure your play is going a little bit more smoothly. Yeah.
No, that's good. And this is actually what I was going to jump into after we had the demo. So thanks for showing us that in the app. So people are unfamiliar now, they can at least see how it works. But yes, this is something we had discussed with a few of the bugs that were coming up. Like I said, I had a friend with problems with the account, which you've just explained to us now. Notifications was a big one. I know there isn't one that comes to your box, but there's a little mail symbol in the app. But there were some people saying like they would send a request and then it wasn't going through. So I'm assuming these are some of the things that they're going to be touching on.
Yeah, that little bottom left mail icon will light up when you've got someone inviting you to play a game, if someone from your buddy list has invited you. But it would be really nice if it did pop up a notification, and we know people want that. So we're taking that under consideration.
And additionally, and I know we had talked about this a little bit, the in-game chat. I know for me, I'm a very interactive player, and I know a lot of other apps that have it. So it's nice when you're like, oh, you want to give someone encouragement. That was a great move, or gotcha, or something like that.
Yeah, I don't think that's on the immediate lineup, but I do. Okay. I know every game kind of wants that, and some of them it's more practical to put them in than others. But I don't know. I mean, if you guys tweet it at us, then we are telling our team, or if you write into, the big thing is writing into customer support and letting them know what you want, because they will they will sort of compile all that data and present it to the project managers so that when we go to look at next updates, we think about what you guys are asking for.
Okay, see, and that's good. See, so they listen, people, but you gotta put it online. So that's so great. So yes, exactly. I know you are. So, because I can talk to you about these things. I think people sometimes are a little worried that their ideas are not going to be heard. I'm like, if you're not making it public, I'm sure there are other people that agree with you, but if you're not making it public, then they don't know. You guys are not mind readers, so people need to make you aware.
Yeah.
It's really good.
For
So,
sure.
yeah, so thank you so much for showing that. So, Cassie, did you have anything to add before we go down the line?
No, I really enjoyed the game. I love I'm like watching the fish swim around in the potion on the screen. I love the animation in the game. I think it's great.
Yeah, I do too. I love it. It's been a lot of fun to play. This is one of my favorite ones, and I think it's going to be really exciting to sort of see how big the community grows, how quickly. I know with Mysterium, when it first launched, it was like there weren't a ton of people online. Now there are a lot more people online, which is really nice. And Mysterium's going really, really well too. So I'm excited to come back and talk to you guys about that one, and maybe we could play through while we could play against each other and see what we see if we can beat the ghost.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe I have to do it. So we're going to finish up and leave it there. So everything that we've talked about, app-wise links, I'm going to try and make sure they're below where you can contact us. We're just going to go down the line, and everyone's going to kind of just reiterate where they can find you or see you. So Amber, I know you've got your Potion Explosion app up there still, but
I'm trying to figure out how to change.
That's okay. Your name is there. It's okay. We know it's you. So if you want to just let us know again, like where we can find you, a little summary of that.
Yeah, I'm online. I mean, I'm the one tweeting from the Asmodee Digital account that's in English. And same thing, my stuff's on Instagram for Asmodee Digital, but I also do personal stuff from 100 Games Project and on Twitter and on Instagram. So that's where I am online.
Perfect. And Cassie?
I am at theindygamereport.com, but I also have my own website for it. Sometimes I like to do things outside of the game industry, like review snacks and little arts and crafts things. So I have a website, CassieElle.com, and we're on Twitter and Facebook and all the normal social medias as well.
Perfect. And me, I'm the Board Gaming Pinup Girl, a part 1/3 of To Die For Games. I'm a Dice Tower contributor, Instagamers Network. You'll see me on Instagram, Twitter, pretty much anything social media, I am there. So you guys can hit me up if you have any other questions. Again, links are going to be below. Additionally, we are looking into some other avenues of covering more with apps and with Amber, with other reviewers like Cassie. So look for that in the future. And any ideas, please send them our way. So I think we're going to sign off for today. And thanks, guys, for joining me.
Great. Thanks so much for having me, guys.
All right. Bye.
Thanks for inviting me.
Bye.
Bye.